Okay, so to begin making your magazine bowl, you're going to start out with just a magazine. I've got a whole box of them, but be aware that some of the magazines may have images in there that are not 100% school appropriate. All I ask is that you just be mature about it. But either way, what we're going to do is we're going to take these newspapers and you're actually just going to tear out your pages, okay? You could just tear out a whole bunch of them, doesn't matter. So now that we have your full page here, you're going to want to cut straight down the middle as much as possible, okay? And then here is where you're going to start making a whole bunch of stacks of these. If you guys want to make these as a table, that's totally fine. You're going to need far more than you could imagine. Next thing you're going to do is this is where you're going to start to fold these. So you're going to fold it about a ½ inch, and then you're just going to keep folding it as even as possible. All right? You get about here, and you have this little leftover flap. That flap is going to actually be glued onto here. So you're going to take your glue. You're going to add in a little bit all along here. Nice little line. It doesn't have to be thick, just so you know. And then you're going to fold this over one last time. Okay? And there you have your first little strip. Okay? So you're going to make a whole bunch of these. So the first thing is you're going to make a bunch of these little half sheets. The second thing, you're going to make a bunch of these strips. So this part right here, where if you kind of just squeeze here, you're going to actually open it up a little bit. And you're going to want to put this other end into that end right there. What I suggest is take this end here, okay? And you're just going to kind of fold it over a little bit so that we make that top part a little smaller. You're going to take these two pieces and just like tabs almost, one goes into the other, all right? And then you have to add a little bit of glue inside of there. So you can see my glue. I'm going to push it in, and then you're just going to kind of press it down so it stays. Again, this can kind of be done right before you're about ready to start rolling your spirals. Okay, so now next what I'm going to do is show you how to roll your spirals. So you're going to start with your piece nice and long, and I would suggest just take your glue, kind of just add it all along there. And then this first part is a little bit tough for some people. I suggest just kind of fold it over at first, and you're just going to kind of keep folding it at first until it starts kind of rolling on its own. And then if you notice this part is starting to kind of come outward, you can kind of just push that back in as you go. At this point, don't finish the glue off just yet because it's easier to attach it when there's still a little bit of space to attach it to. So as you can see, I've got my spiral here. If you were watching, you would notice that I had been kind of squeezing it like this because part of this started kind of coming outward. So you can squeeze it back together so it's nice and flat. But let's say we were kind of calling it a day today, and I said, okay, time to pack up. You could just kind of finish rolling that up the rest of the way, and then you'd take a rubber band and just kind of wrap it around. All right? You just wrap it around, kind of leave it like that. You could even kind of put a little piece of paper inside of here that has your name on it because your group's going to be leaving their stuff together. All right? The next thing that you're going to need to know how to do, though, is actually start building this up. So let's say that this was a lot larger and I was ready to start building up the walls. What you're going to do, instead of attaching it to your base, instead of putting it inside here, you're actually going to start building it up slowly. If you could see, as I'm rolling it, I'm leaving extra space here instead of having it be flat. Okay? So instead of it being flat like that, I'm leaving extra space. I'm overlapping it. What you need to do, though, is as you're doing this, you're going to add glue along the bottom portion right here. And then you're going to slowly wrap it up. Okay? So you're just going to go up in a slight spiral, slightly overlapping the whole time you're doing it. Again, of course, your base is going to be much larger than mine here, but that's how we start creating a circular one. If you wanted this to be square, you would obviously start to shape it at this point. If you notice, if I squeeze it on both sides, I'm going to start to get a square. If you stop for the day, you wrap it a little different. The first time I showed you wrap it around this way, if you're doing a square, you want to keep that square shape as much as possible. So you're actually going to wrap it 2 separate times. You're going to wrap it around the from one side to the other, and then you'll take another one and you'll wrap it around this way. And it should be a little easier for you because yours will be bigger than the one I'm making here. But that's how you're going to be wrapping it. That way it'll keep your square shape there. If you want to make anything else besides a circular or a square bowl, you need to be talking to me.